Hello everyone, welcome to the Scientific Investor channel. Today we will be looking at the cryptocurrencies, its recent news, updates for that of XRP and Ether. We'll look at the news first, then the Twitter posts related to the XRPs, and then the chart. We'll analyze the chart of both Ether and XRP in a longer time frame as well as shorter time frames. So first we'll actually go through the news. This particular news article actually states that about the previous week's rally. Actually, if we look at weekly, we may see that Ether, XRP, LTC, and others have rallied a bit. So in the perspective of this particular writer, he is actually trying to analyze whether the rally is for real. And based on his analysis, he states that a strong advanced decline ratio indicates that the rally is for real. So he is actually showing that during this consolidating state of most of the digital assets and it's bottoming out, the smart money is actually coming in. So he's showing that the volume is rising. If you guys would like to go through this particular article, I'll link this in the description. Now the next one, it shows that the XRP exhibits strong fundamental because its network metrics are rising. The on-chain transaction volumes are surging in XRP. So if we look at the same, it was more or less similar to that of 2017 when there was a huge bull run, a dramatic rise in the price. So I'll actually link these news articles in the description, so it will be easy for you if you guys want to get more insight from that. Now most of the writers are predicting that we are bottoming out, and we are gonna have a price increase. Now this particular one is showing that the MoneyGram is actually using XRP in real time for financial usage. They are actually opening up a new corridor for XRP using. Now it's the XRapid is being renamed as on-demand liquidity. So moving on to the next one. Now this shows the trend of growing Ripple as a company and its partners and the number of network points increasing in XRP ledger. Now this is due to the recent change as they rebranded that into ODL, which is on-demand liquidity, and financial institutions are actually going through a liquidity crisis. Thus, they need some kind of support in some way. So XRP is being presented at that point to cover that. Now, based on this order, he's showcasing the movement of Ripple or XRP, rather the price movement is, I believe, he actually wanted to state that as XRP. So showing that as 1.48%. But as when we are looking at cryptocurrencies, we know that 1.48% is kind of stagnation because this is not the traditional market, right? We're not looking at 1% or 2% rise in the price because when a rally really begins, it's 5, 10, 15, 20% movement a day. Now this one is about the price not reflecting the actual potential or the fundamentals of XRP or on-demand liquidity as of now. So the tokenized assets are presented in CoinField's centralized exchange at the same price as the market. So yeah, when we see a movement in the XRP ledger project of Sologenic, hopefully this adds to the fundamentals and it will provide a more liquidity and we may see a price rise. Now in my recent video also I showcased that China is actually moving towards a new central bank cryptocurrency, and US is lagging behind. Now the Ripple founder actually calls that China's blockchain endorsement is phenomenal, and says US regulator now have to step up because during the last industrial revolution, say for the internet era, it was US who became a leader and pushed all the companies. So if you look at the companies like Google, Microsoft and all, they have a strong base in US because the regulatory clarity was present there during that era, so they could become the leader. But I don't think that's the case right now, because US is lagging behind in that. SEC is not actually coming up, like, this is my personal opinion. So SEC is not coming up with regulatory clarity which the market needs. So they came up stated about BTC, Ether, but they're still silent about XRP. It's still the third largest currency if you look at crypto market caps. Now, MoneyGram, this is actually similar to the previous news, because in this it's stating that MoneyGram is using XRP and XRP is useful in the real world with its utility. Because there was a time when some used to say XRP is not going to be used by any financial institution which is regulated because it's a cryptocurrency. But now, from Brad Garlinghouse, he states that it's a digital asset, and currently they have a lot of partners, financial institutions which are regulated endpoints, using this technology to transfer from one fiat to another. As illustrated in this particular example, it's USD to Mexican peso. Now, moving on to the next, it's a Twitter handler, and I'm not actually sure about this, because yeah, there were crypto hawk tweets in which most of them were not that genuine. I mean, as I felt, because some of the calls were not correct. Now he is stating that he's not a holder anymore. He sold his 4.5 million holdings of XRP and states good luck idiots for the XRP community. I'm not sure whether that's the correct opinion or whether that's the genuine account of Crypto Hook. I'm not sure about that, but just sharing you the information. Now moving on to the next. This one is actually from Echo's XRP1. He says that the cash holding of Berkshire Hathaway is soaring. It's 128 billion. Think this guy is the most brilliant investor I've ever seen, and if guys like them are stockpiling the cash, I think there is a crash which is gonna come. The stock market crash, maybe something similar to 07, 08, or even worse. It may not be a recession, it may be a depression. And these guys actually wait for a recession to happen so that they can buy everything cheap. Say they are waiting for a sale to happen in the stock market. Now the next one, this is from Love for Crypto. See, he's looking at that. FOMO will cause a pump. So he is actually waiting for a FOMO. Yeah, we are all waiting for that. Now let's move on to the news for Ether. Here, both the news I have here is both of the authors are looking at a point where that Ethereum is in a key buy zone. Maybe they are trying to point out that it's in a support zone where it retraced from its recent highs around 350 to 500. 350. So pardon me on that. Was previous I was around 350. So now the price actually went down to 170 area, 160 area, and now it's coming up to 180. It's trading more or less nearby 180, 190. So they are looking at a price increase of $30, say around 210, 220. So there are chances. They are showcasing it that in their analysis of this particular chart, they're looking at a potential rise up to 200. 50, 230, that area, because when the crypto moves, it moves quick. No one is actually able to catch up with that. So if you're prepared with your position allocated near this price or even below that, I think you have a good position to wait for a bit of rise. If you are a trader, if you are an investor, I hope in the long term it will actually have more in price action. But this is not a financial advice. Of course, this is my point of view, my perspective. I'm trying to give you guys more insights about this. Now the next one is about same. This author is also looking at the charts of Ether in a daily time frame. He's showing that the stochastic RSI is near to that of buy position, and the price may fall a little bit, but there is chance that it may move back up high. Now looking at the chart of XRP, this is a daily chart of XRP. In this you can see that there is a chance of a golden cross coming in, and it may happen in a couple of days or in the coming week if there is no further downward push. So this is actually the 21-day, 50 and 100, in which the 21 actually crossed both 150 and 100. Now actually the 50-day moving average is going to cross 100-day, giving a golden cross here. So I hope there will be a push up, because if we look at the same in a weekly chart, we can see that the stochastic RSI is around the overbought section, and at the same time the MACD has crossed in a weekly chart. That's, I believe, more significant when it is in a weekly rather than in 4 hour 1 hour chart. Now the same, if we look at hourly or 4 hour chart for XRP, we can see that there is a trend forming here. If you guys see, it's a triangle. Yeah, with XRP it's more or less almost triangles forming. So for this particular pattern, if it happens to break above, the measured move upside will more or less be till 0.32 0.34 for this particular pattern. Now we can see that last 3 times it reached the bottom, it was being bounced off, and we can see the similar pattern happening here. It was bounced off from here, it was bounced off from here, and the same happened here. Now if it actually bounce up, the potential buying opportunity will come here at the breakout, or it will be better to buy at the retest of the breakout. Now I can see more or less the same for Ether in its chart. It's a 4 hour chart, and it's showing a flag here. It came up suddenly with an increase, a bit of increase in the volume, and it is hanging, still hanging on there. Now if it actually move up high, it can actually give a good percentage. Say it may move up till around 210 215, which actually reflects back to the previous news I showcased. And now let's look into the long chart of XRP weekly one, and at the same time we can look at the market structure, how the markets work. So if you actually look at that market structure, what you can understand is there is long time markets movements in which the real guys buy in, the smart money come in and buy. So see the accumulation, markup, distribution, decline. So for us, we are already completed or almost at the end of this decline, and we are in the accumulation. So personally, what I believe is we are in the end of accumulation, as we've been put in the bottom and moving up. So there is a book which I would like to share to you guys. That's Mastering the Market Cycle, Getting the Odds on Your Side, and that's written by Howard Marks. He is founder and the CEO of Oak Tree Capital. It's one of an experienced guy and most reputable guy in the industry. So if you guys can go through the book, I think it may give you an insight. The next image I'm going to show to you guys is more or less similar to the market cycle, and it may be familiar for you guys, because this is being shared all across the crypto and the trading areas. So what do you guys think? Are we in the anger phase or a depression phase? Because while looking at the market charts, we need to understand that this is the psychology of investors. Human beings, when dealt with money, there is a lot of movement in the psychology. Okay, for my opinion, I believe that we are somewhere in the depression phase, where even if a small rally is coming up, they'll feel that this is a suckers rally. But if I'm comparing that with Ether's chart, I believe that we already got this disbelief phase and we came down. So I'm hoping for a hope rally in Ether, and I'm waiting for a disbelief rally in XRP. So that's all for today, and I hope you guys find the content well. And if you guys want to support the channel, please give it a like and subscribe the channel. I'll meet you guys next time with a new video with a lot of insights.